Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please feel free to write to me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, in American Chinese restaurant, there's a very famous mushroom dish, and the dish is known as Mu Gu Gai Pan. And the word Mu Gu means mushroom, Gai means chicken, and Pan means thin slices. In Cantonese pronunciation, it is Mo Gu Gai Pin. Now, this restaurant dish is very popular, and one of the most distinctive features about this dish is that it has a heavy sauce, almost gravy-like. Now, the fat sauce is very welcomed by many people who go to Chinese restaurants because the sauce is wonderful to put over rice. And furthermore, if you have noodles, the sauce can go over the noodles just like a spaghetti sauce. Now, this dish actually is very simple and easy to cook. It takes only a few minutes. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you the commercial version that with a heavy sauce. Now, most of the time when people cook at home, they do not have the heavy sauce. And for simple reason is that the heavy sauce can have overwhelming flavor, that it affects the natural flavor of the chicken. If you want to taste the natural flavor of chicken, usually it's better off to have a very light sauce. But on the other hand, if you want a dish with a sauce that to go over the rice, as well as to go over lots of noodles, then this dish is absolutely great. So this is one potential option that you can choose how to cook this dish. Now, when I purchased chicken and I took it back from the grocery store, I never freeze it the way it is because I want to create a situation that anytime when I want to eat chicken, I can have chicken as ready from freezer to the wok in less than 10 minutes. Now, here's a good example of how I prep my chicken. In this video, I discuss a method I use to prep chicken that will allow me to have chicken to go from freezer to the wok in about 10 minutes. The secret is that you cut up the chickens in advance and then you freeze them in this very thin layer. In this case, I use a Ziploc sandwich bag. By freezing it in very thin layer, you have a tremendous advantage. So after it is freezed, I can actually stand them inside the freezer. I can find them easily, almost like I look for files in the file cabinet. When I'm ready to use it, I put them in a bowl of lukewarm water, and this will force the chicken in 10 minutes or less. So the secret is that always cut up the chickens before you freeze them. And I usually freeze them in a Ziploc sandwich bag to about 1/3 of the capacity of the bag. I freeze them usually about 6 to 8 ounces. This is about the right size that I like for using chicken in my dish as a condiment rather than as a main ingredient. So after I thawed out the chicken, the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to mix the chicken with a thin layer of cornstarch. And a lot of time I also add about 1 teaspoon of my Walk with Tak basic seasoning mix. This will enhance the natural flavor of the chicken. I have this seasoning mix on Amazon, and if you are interested, you can take a look. Now, frying this chicken is very simple, which I will show you in a minute. But in addition to the chicken, I'm also going to use mushroom. Now, you can use any type of mushroom that you would like. In this case, I use a portobello mushroom. I like portobello mushroom better than the white mushroom because it has more firmer texture. Now, this particular type of portobello mushroom is frequently known as baby bella, and they are a little bit easier to manipulate than the regular portobello mushroom. For this dish, I'm also going to use some pepper. I have usually several different kinds of pepper, partly because of the color, which it will make the dish more interesting. And some of this pepper actually are given to me by a friend of mine. For the sauce, I'm going to use cornstarch. I'm going to put 1 part of cornstarch to 3 parts of water to make the sauce. I'm going to cook this dish in my Cuisinart 14 inches stainless steel wok. I start with 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And since I have used this wok previously, I don't need to season it again. So the next step is that I put the chicken into the wok. Now, this wok has a relatively large flat surface area, which is almost about 9 inches across, it makes it almost you can use it like a small frying pan. And this is a lot of advantage for me in cooking this dish. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a shallow frying of the chicken. Basically, I'm going to use a pair of long-handled tongs, and I spread out the chicken on the flat surface area of the wok. This will allow me to fry chicken on one side at least for about maybe 20 to 30 seconds. This will create a light crispy texture on the surface of the chicken. Now, I'm not going to fry this too long because I'm going to mix it all up together. The next step is that I'm going to add the pepper. Now, by now, the chicken is pretty much done. It's probably about 80% done. And with a few stir frying, the chicken is ready. So I'm going to remove the chicken from the wok and set it aside. Now, this shows you how quickly I can cook the chicken. The reason I decided I want to cook the chicken separately because this would allow me to keep the texture of the chicken exactly how I like it. And this is a technique called combinatorial stir frying. You stir fry the two different ingredients that are not the same separately. The next step is to make the sauce for the dish, and actually making the sauce is very similar to making a gravy. So all I do is that I mix up the cornstarch suspension really well and pour it into the wok. As you can see, initially the sauce is much thicker than I would like. So I add some water, and this is easy to do because you can make adjustment to the sauce. If it is too thick, you can add more water. It's probably better to start out thicker rather than too thin, because if it's too thin, then you have to add more cornstarch. So I'm going to add enough water to the point that I feel this is exactly the texture or consistency of the sauce that I want. It looks like now I'm pretty much there. So the next step is to add the mushroom to the sauce. To preserve the flavor of the mushroom, it's better not to overcook them. I'm going to cook them only very lightly. In fact, it probably will not take me more than 30 to 40 seconds to cook the mushroom. By now, I've shut off the heat because the remaining heat will be sufficient to cook the mushroom to the texture that I like. So the next step is that I'm going to season the sauce. I'm going to start out with about 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. And then I'm going to follow by about 1 teaspoon of this hot sesame oil. And finally, with about half a tablespoon of soy sauce. So a few quick mix, the dish is done. So I transferred the mushroom and the sauce onto a serving plate. Now, as you can see here, I cooked this mushroom and the sauce separately because this will give me much better control of the texture of the mushroom, as well as give me more time to create the sauce in whatever way that I would like. This method actually is a basic template of how you create a sauce, and you can use this method to create any type of sauce that you like, and you can season the sauce differently as well. Now, this sauce is much heavier than most people will cook at home, but in restaurant cooking, this sauce is very common, and partly because, as I have mentioned earlier, sauces like this go very well with rice. And so people can order just one dish and use this dish to eat with their rice as well. The next step is that I'm going to combine the chicken together with the mushroom and the sauce. Now, the reason I did that separately, well, as I mentioned earlier, first is that it will give me much better control when I cook the chicken. So I will not overcook the chicken. If I cook the chicken together with the sauce, but the time when I make the sauce, I will overcook the chicken. But this way, I can make sure that the chicken cooked to exactly the texture that I want. Now, most people will find the texture of chicken is very important. You do not want the meat of the chicken to become too dry, and consequently, you will reduce the culinary experience. By using this method, I separate the chicken and the sauce making at 2 different steps. Now, it might seem like taking an extra step, but the quality of the dish is well worth it. And besides, both cook very quickly. So, I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking using my fast cooking system so that your home cooking will be practical, efficient, creative, and fun. And the goal is that you can cook every day, make home cooking as your daily routine, as an alternative to fast and ultra-processed food. So if you're interested in my cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.